Hello and welcome to this edition of Ask the Mayor. I'm Mickey Thompson, Mayor of the City of Douglasville, and your host for today's show. It is my pleasure to answer your questions on this program and bring you, the citizens of Douglasville and Douglas County, information concerning the operation of the city business, community concerns, new programs for our area, and other vital information you need to know. Our city and community is a very fast-growing area and a place many of us call home. Today I have some special guests with some special questions. Today we will hear from the younger voices in our community, our children and your children. Many of their questions are quite factual, while others express their youth, and I gather that possibly Mom and Dad prompted some of those questions. But in either case, I want to use them to inform, to educate, and have a bit of fun on today's program, Ask the Mayor. So let the little ones ask the questions.
What's a mayor?
Do you really have to be over 40 to be a good mayor?
Why are the taxes so high?
Mayor, how fast do you drive?
How long can you be a mayor?
How many people live in Douglasville?
How hard is it to run the city?
I'd like to know, what does it take to be a mayor?
What color shirt did you wear on election day?
I was just wondering why we have so many tests.
Why do you have to have gray hair to be a mayor?
How long do you get to be the mayor?
What's your favorite race car? Why can't Alabama beat Georgia? How long can you be the mayor?
Wow, those were some great questions. Kids can always bring out the lighter side of things. I'm not quite sure how to jump into answering all of those questions, but here goes. I'll tackle the hard one first, and that is, why are taxes so high? Actually, taxes in the city of Douglasville have decreased in the last several years. This is due to a decrease in the millage rate. Taxes have actually dropped, or the millage rate has dropped 16.3% since I took office as your mayor in 2000. With decreased taxes, this allows the citizens the advantage of government services at a reduced rate. This allows more savings in dollars for the average home and keeps the government system running smoothly on a restricted or limited budget, very similar to the way you operate your home. One of the key responsibilities of the mayor's position is to oversee the management of the budget of this governing structure. The budget for the city of Douglasville this year was over $19 million in the year 2007. And as the city and the county grows, so will the budget needs and demands of the city. So math, government, and economics are good subjects to focus on in school if you want to seek public office or become the mayor of the city of Douglasville or any other political position.
Hi, Mayor Mickey. I'm Matt, and I'm a kid at heart. And my question is, if I get pulled over and I say, hey, I know Mickey, does that work?
Hi, my name's Preston, and Mayor, how fast do you drive?
Well, that's a great question. How fast do I really drive on the streets of Douglasville? Well, the posted speed limit on most streets is 35 miles an hour. So I do try to maintain the set speed limit. Now on the racetrack, however, which is my hobby, as many of you know, I've reached speeds up to 180 miles an hour, and that is very fast, especially on the curves and hairpin turns of road courses. So Matt, if you get stopped on the streets, I'll just know our officers are doing their jobs. I doubt they'll let you off if you tell them you know me. Part of their duty is to keep the streets safe. It is also my job to help make sure the employees of the city are doing their job to serve you, the citizens of Douglasville.
My name's Grace.
Hi, I'm Madison, and the question I would ask the mayor is, do you really have to be over 40 to be a good mayor?
Well, actually, you do not have to be over 40 to be the mayor. The minimum requirements for qualifying to be a candidate for mayor are not very difficult. You must be 21 years old, and you must be a registered voter, and you must have resided inside the city for 12 months. So it's not very difficult to qualify, and you certainly do not have to be over 40. Actually, I was just a little bit over 40 when I qualified, so all of this gray hair and the loss of hair probably looks like you need to be over 40, but you don't really have to, and I would encourage each of you to think about a life in public service because it is very fulfilling when you can help people. Good question.
City TV, bringing Douglasville and Douglas County a new look at government TV. With Ask the Mayor. On the agenda, the police report, the lineup, and city council meeting broadcasts. City TV, programming for our citizens.
Now available at the Douglasville Welcome Center, the 2007 Downtown Keepsake. This year's Keepsake is a beautiful depiction of the Farmers and Merchants Bank building at the corner of Broad and Campbellton Streets. Don't miss this opportunity to own your piece of historic downtown Douglasville. This year's Downtown Keepsake is available now at the Douglasville Welcome Center, 6694 Broad Street, next to O'Neill Plaza.
Hi, my name is Hunter. Mr. Mayor, why can't Alabama beat Georgia?
Well, that is certainly a great question. Why can't Alabama beat Georgia? Well, as many of you know, I'm a season ticket holder at Alabama, so I go to quite a few of these games. Haven't been able to go this year for various other commitments here in the city. But if you look back over the history of Georgia playing Alabama, it's a long-standing rivalry. But the record is 34-24-4. So I think the record kind of speaks for itself. But you know, I'm a Georgia resident now, not an Alabama resident. So I pull for Georgia anytime they're not playing Alabama. That's a great question.
Hi, my name is Bailey. How many people live in Douglasville?
Well, also that's a great question. How many people live in the city of Douglasville? And so, first of all, I'll answer the question about how many people actually reside or have homes here. The current population, based on the Atlanta Regional Commission statistics, puts our population today at a little over 28,000. Of course, that changes, as we know, from time to time as new people move into the community. But one other aspect of our population is the daily population in the city of Douglasville, because during a normal business day in the city, our population almost doubles, because the city of Douglasville is the economic engine for really the entire western metro Atlanta area, with people coming here to shop and dine and do business and the other things. So as a result of that, the city collects about 70% or a little over 70% of every sales tax dollar that's collected within Douglas County. So answering your question with respect to the population is, first of all, how many actually call this home. And of course, as you know, many people call Douglasville home that may not live in the city of Douglasville or in the incorporated part. For example, if you live in Douglas County and someone says, "Where do you live?" you probably say Douglasville, not "I live in the unincorporated part of Douglas County." So the population of Douglasville fluctuates, but today it's 28,000. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, I'm Karis McMahon. I'd like to know, what does it take to be a mayor?
we've got many, many good questions, but none better than this one. What does it take to be a mayor? Well, I'll answer that in basically two parts. The minimum requirements are you meet the obligations of running meetings, and basically there are 4 meetings per month. But what does it take to really be a good mayor and serve all of the citizens in Douglasville? The answer to that is a completely different question. It takes someone that cares about you and cares about our community, and it is willing to work toward those goals, not just at the mandatory meetings, but 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there is a distinct difference between minimum requirements and what it really takes to serve the citizens of Douglasville, because we truly are, all of us that are elected, we are public servants serving you. And that is quite a daunting task, I'll be quite honest with you.
The Douglasville City Council meets at City Hall on the first and third Monday nights in each month at 7:30 p.m. We have a legislative work session on the preceding Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. at City Hall. Those meetings, of course, are open to the public, and you're welcome. We would welcome you to come to any of those meetings. There will be an opportunity at each meeting for citizen comments. Now, if you're unable to come to those meetings, but you want to know what's going on, you will be able to see the key parts of those meetings on City TV.
Hi, my name is Katie. Mr. Mayor, how hard is it to run the city?
Well, as we continue to talk about how difficult it is to be mayor, I think about many things. First is, it's not very difficult if you enjoy doing what you're doing and if you enjoy serving the public. But there are a number of responsibilities, and some of those responsibilities are local. Not only do you have the mandatory meetings and the mandatory things you have to do, I think it's important to be involved in your community. For example, I'm a member of the Rotary Club, I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and various other civic organizations here in Douglasville representing the city at each of those meetings and at each of those organizations. But also, I believe that the responsibility of this office goes beyond the corporate boundaries of our city limits, because there are many, many opportunities for the city of Douglasville serving in other organizational roles. For example, there's an organization, the Georgia Municipal Association. That is an organization that represents 535 cities in the state of Georgia. I feel like it's important for the city of Douglasville to be involved in that organization, because so many of the things that we and you see as citizens here in Douglasville, a lot of those ideas originate at the Georgia Municipal Association, and I currently serve several roles on that board. I'm a member of the Board of Directors for the Georgia Municipal Association. I serve on their executive committee for that organization also, and one of the other important things for the employees at those 535 cities are their benefits and their retirement. I also am a trustee on the Board of Directors that actually invest all of the retirement funds for all of the employees in all 535 cities. We also manage and provide the health insurance, risk management insurance for cities, and various other requirements that cities have. So I believe it's important to be involved in those organizations. We also, I'm a member of the Georgia Municipal Association's Legislative Policy Council. Each year, as you know, our legislators meet under the Gold Dome to make laws that affect both you and I. And it's extremely important for cities and representatives of cities to be present and to be at the table when those laws are made, or when those meetings and work sessions to discuss those laws are going on. Therefore, I serve on the Georgia Municipal Association Legislative Policy Council. We are a lobbying organization for cities, and basically that's a direct lobbying organization for you, for things that are important to you as citizens and taxpayers here in our city. The other area that I feel like it's very important to be involved in outside the city of Douglasville is the Metro Atlanta Mayors Association. That is an organization of all of the mayors in the Metro Atlanta area. There are over 60 mayors that are a member of this very important organization, and I was honored this year to be selected as the president for this year in the organization. Again, that gives us an opportunity, and it's the first time that we've been involved in this organization, but it gives us an opportunity to be at the table when decisions are made. Also, the Metro Atlanta Mayors Association has a lobbying organization that lobbies just for the cities that are here in the Metro Atlanta area, because oftentimes the needs for the cities in a large metropolitan area like the Atlanta metropolitan area are somewhat different than the needs of the more rural areas or the mountainous areas. So it's important that legislation is not adopted on a statewide level that might affect somehow negatively the cities that are in the Metro Atlanta area. So I believe it's extremely important to be involved in that organization also. So back to the question, how difficult is it to be mayor? It's not very difficult if you do the minimum, but if you go beyond that, it does take quite a bit more of your time. But thank you for asking that question.
Hi, my name is Michael. What's your favorite race car?
Well, it's obvious from some of these questions. Some of you know that automobile racing is my hobby, and I am a participant. I drive a car, I work on the car, and the question is a good question. What is my favorite race car? Well, I think most anyone who is a participant in automobile racing would say their car is their most favorite car. My particular car is a little BMW, a 325 BMW that's highly modified for racing on the Sports Car Club of America circuit. But that's a very good question, but today that is my favorite race car. Now if I change and get another car, that'll probably be my favorite car.
I'm Chaz Wagner, and how long do you get to be the mayor?
Hi, my name's Audrey, and my question is, how long can you be a mayor?
Hi, my name is Chase, and I want to be the mayor.
Well, the question is, does the city of Douglasville have term limits? And of course, term limits are maximum limits that an elected official can serve. The answer to that is no, we do not have official term limits. But unofficially, we do have term limits. And those term limits are called voting and at the ballot box. And basically, that works, I believe, as effectively as term limits, because you, the voters of the city, get to decide how good a job your elected official is doing and how long he or she can serve. Because I can tell you from past experience, it does take some time. Oftentimes it takes quite a bit of time to develop the relationships on a statewide level that are necessary to bring funding to the city of Douglasville. Because bringing funding is one of the most important things that a mayor in this city can do, I believe, because there's a tremendous amount of grant money, there's a tremendous amount of transportation money, and other funds that are available. You have to have a seat at the table in order to be considered. That's the reason I am involved with the Atlanta Regional Commission, because they are the organization that prepares the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Plan, that controls all of our road projects in the 10-county metro Atlanta area. As a result of working with these folks and trying to look outside the box and maybe not having term limits and building some relationships. You may have seen in the local newspaper where the city was awarded $70 million for the Highway 92 project. That project is the largest transportation project in Douglas County's history from a financial standpoint, and is a major milestone in our attempt and in our efforts to improve and provide better transportation here. With term limits, it might have been much more difficult, because As you know, I've served as your mayor for 8 years. We are just now beginning to get those very large sums of money. Had we had term limits, I would have been going out of office in December of this year. And had that money been delayed a little bit, I'm not sure that those relationships would have been there to secure that kind of funding. So there's some advantages and disadvantages of term limits, but personally, I think from seeing how basically the system works on getting large sums of money for your city, I could see some real disadvantages to term limits. But I have always been a believer that elected officials and how long they serve should be determined by you, the voters. And you will tell us if we're doing a good job when it's election time.
Hi, I'm Will. Mr. Mayor, would you like some shoes like these?
Well, that's a very good question. If you look at my shoes, you probably know that I need a pair of those, and I could certainly use those red shoes since I'm currently in the middle of a political campaign, and I've actually been out walking the streets door to door. So those red shoes not only would get attention, but I think they'd be comfortable.
Now available at the Douglasville Welcome Center, the 2007 Downtown Keepsake. This year's keepsake is a beautiful depiction of the Farmers and Merchants Bank Building at the corner of Broad and Campbellton Streets. Don't miss this opportunity to own your piece of historic downtown Douglasville. This year's Downtown Keepsake is available now at the Douglasville Welcome Center, 6694 Broad Street, next to O'Neill Plaza.
Jordana, Uncle Mickey, what do you do if you have fun?
Well, Jordana, that's a great question. Jordana, as some of you may know, is actually my next door neighbor, and she calls me Uncle Mickey, and I like that. And your question was, what do I do if I have fun? Well, I try to make everything fun, Jordana, and oftentimes that is as simple as visiting you or you visiting us. But also, family is very important, and spending that quality time with family is more important than anything for me that I can do. I have the opportunity to do a lot of things as your mayor in the city of Douglasville, but those times with family. I have a grandson now that's almost 2 years old. I have a second grandson that's on the way. I have a lovely wife, daughter, and son-in-law and grandchildren, and nothing to me is more important than that. But of course I do a lot of other things. You know, I have a lot of hobbies, and we've talked about those already on this show, but really those are secondary to family and the time that you spend with your family. My family, most of my family is no longer living. My wife has a rather large family, and the time that we spend with them as a family is important. Actually, her family has her tradition of once a quarter they have a birthday party for all of the family members that had a birthday in that quarter. And so that's a time that I look forward to seeing our family members, because some of them do not live here. A lot of them do not live here in Douglasville. So it gives us an opportunity to be together. And so those are the things that I really, really do enjoy. And thank you, Jordana. Well, this has truly been a different Ask the Mayor program, but I have thoroughly enjoyed answering these questions today. I appreciate the children asking me these questions, but also I want to hear from you. So please keep those questions coming. I look forward each program to answering those questions that are important to you, the citizens of Douglasville. So, Ask the Mayor.